eating well and aging well. It's for elderly adults who are having problems with their weight. But really what we're going to talk about, yeah, we all fit, right? But mainly we're going to talk about just as, a way to eat better for not only overweight, but also for your health.
Right.
So and what we're going to talk about here really goes across all ages. There's not really a difference. So if you're not elderly, like some of the people here, it's still appropriate. And the whole idea I have is go into a whole foods diet. Just a little bit about me. I'm currently enrolled in a master's program at the University of New England. It's a applied nutrition program. I'm also got an engineering degree. That's my other hobby. I got two hobbies, one nutrition, one engineering. But the reason that I got interested in this is like everybody else, I was sick. I put on a ton of weight, diagnosed type 2 diabetes. My doctor told me it's metabolic syndrome and it's all has to do with what I eat. And so what I did is I changed the way I eat, and I eat quite differently now. And I lost weight. My type 2 diabetes, I don't really register as a type 2 diabetic anymore. So that went away. My energy went up. It was just, quite a life-changing experience. So I got into this, so I figured I would help others,
I have a question, Frank. Type 2 diabetes, what are some of the symptoms that you have? Is it your,
Well, you really got to get tested for it.
right?
Your doctor will test you for it. Usually when you get your blood work every year, you're getting tested for it. They do your blood glucose, your fasting blood glucose.
And where is at the top in the numbers when you get tested,
If you are above 5.9 A1C, I believe is where they say you're
A1C.
diabetic. I was 14.
Wow.
And now I'm a 5.6. So without medicine. All with diet. So here's what we're going to try to learn today. These are the objectives: understanding what's causing the epidemic. We'll do a little brief talk about what macronutrients are. We'll understand the two weight loss models. We'll talk about them a little bit. And then we'll talk about the dangers of restrictive diets. And then hopefully you'll know what's meant by whole foods. And we'll also do a little demonstration on how to use a chronometer to improve the nutrition of a recipe on your own. So here we go. Back to the 80s.
The time they live.
Part of this whole thing is my life because I was born in 59. And if you look at the data, and this is just for obesity and diabetes, if you look somewhere around the 80s, it took off. So back 60, 70, and 80, we didn't really have a lot of obesity in this country. If you look at the type 2 diabetes levels, same thing. The chart goes exactly the same as that chart. If you look here at and this is for elderly people, and if you look here, this is 1980, it just took off. I have other data that I could show people, and I do sometimes. The chart for cancer looks exactly the same. The chart for heart disease looks exactly the same. They all take off about that same time. The cancer is the reason you don't see it so much is as the cancer rates rise, we've gotten really good at curing it. So the deaths of cancer is flat. It hasn't gone up, but the incidence of cancer is quite high compared to what it was back then. So really, another reason to do this is to not get those diseases. And even though you survive cancer, it's not a good thing to go through. The treatment is tough, but we're going to talk about obesity and overweight. So what happened back in the 80s? This is one lifetime, so it's not a genetic difference. People didn't just all of a sudden lose willpower. We didn't change. And it happened to me. I was a skinny little kid. There was no overweight kids in my school. When we ran around, we used to have to climb the rope from the bottom of the gym all the way to the top. Every one of us did it. If you put that in today's class, half the kids wouldn't be able to get up that rope.
Wow.
And it was crazy that we had to do it. It was insane, but it was 30 feet up in the air. and we had to climb that rope, you know? I think they stopped it because nobody could do it.
Well, I definitely don't think they
You
do
did it, okay, you're old enough. Dennis, did you do it?
Yes.
Yeah, you did it. Pedro, do you have to do
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I was there.
Anybody our age?
And the horse, remember the horse? Yeah,
Yep.
to a jump
So-
on that damn horse.
Something's changed. So what's changed? It's the environment that changed. It's not us that's changed. It's the environment has changed. Today, 75% of the food purchases today are from moderate to highly processed foods. So we're eating almost completely processed foods. Okay? Why do we do it? Even though we know it's not good for us. There's a ton of money advertising to tell you to do it. I mean, look at the supermarket aisles, they're just packed with it. And then this is the new one. I just love this because this is a new commercial came out. I think this is classic of the food industry, what it's trying to do for us. So if you look at 1965, we ate 0.7 pounds of ready-to-eat cereal a year. And now everybody eats 14 pounds of it a year, and this stuff's light. So 14 pounds of it. So here's the new ad. I hope this plays.
When I say cereal, you say dinner. Cereal.
Dinner!
Cereal.
Dinner!
Chicken!
You can have the night off, chicken.
Oh, okay, I'll go marinate.
Cereal.
Dinner!
Cereal.
Dinner!
It's kind of crazy though. They have like 5 aisles of just like chips, crackers, cookies, like it's kind of,
Yeah. So,
right.
hold on a second. Yeah, so I mean, that's the point. The point is that what's changed dramatically is the environment we live in. When we were kids, we used to eat 3 meals a day, made by my mom, snacking, as for snack before dinner, what were you told? You'll ruin your dinner. You'll ruin your dinner. You finished eating, that was it.
You gotta
That's
tell
it.
my kids that.
But it's everybody. It's me, you. I mean, I snack. We all do it, But it's not because of a willpower thing. It's about the food and the food they're serving. There's a couple problems with this sort of food.
Sugar content, right?
Well, that's one of them. We're gonna talk about it in a minute, but I just want to make sure we understand a couple things. We're gonna do this basic nutrition, nothing fancy, but it's really just what are macronutrients? People talk about them a lot. And what are they? Because we're gonna discuss it a little bit here. But the 3 big ones are protein, fat, and carbohydrate. Now, in all of those groups, there's healthy and unhealthy ones. There's a lot of processed meats, there's a lot of processed carbs, there's a lot of unprocessed stuff, they're whole foods. And so what really matters, and we'll talk a bit about your breakdown of this, but what matters really is the quality of the food that you're eating, not, what it is you're eating. So I'll show you a couple of things just to go over, just so you understand what we're talking about. Fats are olive oil, butter, meat fats, stuff like that. Proteins are eggs, meats, a lot of vegetables high in protein, and then carbs are starchy vegetables and grains. And there's a few that blend both, obviously. Like when you eat beans, you're getting some of both. When you eat whole milk, you're getting protein. Actually, whole milk, you're getting carbs, fat, and protein, because milk is something that is a whole, like you can raise a baby on just milk, so it's got everything in it that a baby would need. So that's basically what that is. So we'll talk a little bit about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are a great source of energy for the body. It's really what they are. They're fuel, and it's the #1 fuel for the body. It uses it very well. It's broken down into glucose, and then your body uses glucose. Your body is also really good at storing glucose. So if you have extra, it knows where to put it away at. And it puts it away in a lot of places. Your liver gets full, you get fatty livers, you can get, belly fat, you can get fat in your muscles. But it's a storage, because when you have glucose, you need it for fuel. So your body, can run without eating. It needs to have a storage, and that's what it does. Some of the good sources of it are whole grains, starchy vegetables, beans, fruits, and any kind of vegetable is going to have some. But the bad sources of carbohydrates are the refined grains like cereal, flour, sugar, the refined stuff. The stuff what they're doing is they're taking these foods and they're refining it down to just the carbohydrate. They get rid of everything, and oftentimes they get rid of all the nutrient. Like flour, they take the germ out, and the germ has the B vitamins, has all the stuff in it you need. But the flour is just the carbohydrate and it doesn't go bad. So it was really great once they figured out how to make white flour. You could store it, sit on the shelf, doesn't go rancid. But it made a lot of people sick because it didn't have any vitamin B, and people got diseases back when they were just eating and nobody knew what vitamins were. So now they add vitamins back in. But that's the refined grains are the ones that we want to watch. The next one is protein. It's protein's very important. It's needed to build your body. Muscles built with protein. You need protein as a building block. And the other thing in it is it has the amino acids, and there's 9 of them are essential amino acids. And essential always means when they talk about food is something that your body can't make. You have to eat it outside. So if you don't get it, you're going to be deficient and you're going to have some sort of malnutrition and you have some problems. So if you eat a diet that doesn't have one of these, you'll get sick. So, and also proteins used for building muscle. And as you get older, there's sarcopenia. And if you guys know, your muscle start to get smaller, it's, and what they call is wasting. And what'll happen is they can get smaller and smaller to a point where you're falling, you become disabled. It's really a difficult thing for older people. And the way to battle that, eat a lot of protein and do resistance weights. Those are the 2 things. So again, whole foods, you can get all your proteins from vegetables if you want to be vegetarian. The only thing is you have to be a little careful, make sure you get all the different essential ones. You can't just eat one vegetable type. You have to make sure you haven't, because like some beans only have these amino acids. So if you're going to be vegetarian, you need to be a little more careful. Eggs, meats, things like that, dairy, they have them all. So if you eat an egg, you get all the essential amino acids. So those are very high in it.
What's in the difference between your lean and organic meats compared to just regular meats?
Well, lean's less fat, and organic is what they feed them. They feed them organic foods.
What if it's not organic?
Then they just feed them regular foods. It's just like if they're mostly, it depends what meat you mean. But if you're talking like chicken, they're usually given a grain, corn, something like that. But if they use organic feed,
It's more
pesticides are out.
in grass fed, is that what?
No, that's not organic. Organic is more to do with chemicals and pesticides.
So it's more with chemical.
So grass-fed and organic are 2 different things.
Yes.
It is.
Grass-fed beef was better because cows were really designed to eat grass. They have 4 stomachs, they ruminate, that's what their bodies are for. Feeding them corn gets them big and fat. And that's what people want, so they feed them something that's probably not healthy for them.
So what about in pigs, if you feed them oats? Like I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents had pigs and they fed them.
I think pigs can eat anything.
Oats, yeah,
I'm not a farmer, so I don't know.
right. Are oats one of the
We'll talk about oats in a second. I got a slide on oats. That's a good point. I think it comes up soon.
For protein.
Oh, okay, sorry. This is good fats. Yeah, I don't want to skip that one because people are really anti-fat often, and it's probably not good to be that way. You want to eat good fats again. You need fats for brain development, hormones, and certain vitamins. You need fat to absorb it. That's why sometimes you'll see the vitamin pills and a little capsule with fat in it, because that's how it'll come into you. Also, it's the other energy source. So you got carbohydrates, you got fats. Those are the two things that are the fuel. Protein is most so the building blocks of muscle and stuff like that. Protein will convert into a glucose. It takes longer and you don't get that much of it. So it is also a fuel, but typically you're going to either eat enough carbs or enough fats to keep yourself going. And you got to be careful with fats because they're high in calories. It's the highest food for calories per gram. So if you eat a lot of fats, your calorie count is going to go up. So, but it does also satiate you. So it makes you feel like you ate something good. And like if you eat chips and stuff like that, you want more. It's like certain things they make you want more. And go ahead.
So my doctor told me to stay away from fatty foods, period, until I get my cholesterol levels down. These essential fats raise cholesterol levels as high as bad fats that are not good for you.
I'm not a doctor, so I'm going to leave that one alone. Do what your doctor says. I too have that issue, but I different take on that. I think you have to eat healthy fats. There's some evidence that dietary fat isn't really what's driving up your cholesterol. It's your body makes cholesterol. Your liver makes it. So you have to sort of understand that. That I could do a whole another presentation on. But let's stick with losing weight. And I don't want to pretend like I'm a doctor, so I gotta watch what I say. But yeah, so again, with the oils and the fats, it's better to get a natural fat than a processed fat. Olive oil is one of the best. If you get away from the canola oils and the corn oils and start eating, extra virgin olive oil, it's very good for you. It's got all the nutrients left in it. That's not all refined out. It's a nice oil. Also, nuts, seeds, and then there's plenty of fat in vegetables too. So like avocado is a high fat food, so you can get it there too. So there you go. So that's the basic when we talk about those three things. Just so you know what fats, carbs, and proteins are, because we'll talk about it a little bit later. So for losing weight, there's two models for weight loss that work. The first one's called energy balance model, and that's probably what most people know. It's just eat less. Eat less, burn more, and you're gonna lose weight because what your fat is a store. It's a store of carbs for later. So I exercise and eat less, and it'll definitely lose weight. The downside of this model is it doesn't seem to last. The problem is you have an energy balance. You're trying to eat less than you're putting out, so you have a difference in energy. Your body's real good at holding on to its stores, so it adjusts. So if you go on a really restrictive diet, eat a lot less, and keep it up, you lose a lot of weight, and then you're going to plateau. And you probably, if you've done it, you've probably seen it. You don't really know why. And then you put all the weight back on when you give up. The reason is your body adjusts. You start to eat a real restrictive diet, your body starts to think, hey, we're starving. So it slows shit down, slows stuff down. So it starts slowing down. So it gets to the point where this low calorie diet keeps you there. And then you're stuck there. And what happens is you give up and go back, and now you're eating more and you put the weight back on. Your body's down here and you're now eating higher calories, so it comes back on. So I don't want to say that the energy balance model doesn't work. It's important for what we're talking about, because you eat more calories than you're using, you're going to put on weight. Go ahead.
So if you do that, the low calorie in the model, say you exercise at the same time and you're trying to eat low calorie and exercise, wouldn't that actually benefit you?
You would lose more weight.
Right,
But there'll get to be a point where it's going to plateau.
it is going to plateau.
And that's a problem, because what it's doing is it's dropping your metabolism. And you don't want that. You don't want lower metabolism. You want high metabolism. So going on the starvation diets, really, this yo-yo dieting, I don't know. I've tried it, everybody's tried it. It doesn't really work well for long term. But you also got to understand that you can't just eat a ton of calories. Because if you eat tons of calories on top of you know, what you're doing and you're not exercising, you're just gonna put on weight. So don't neglect that concept. The other way to do it is called the carbohydrate insulin model. And what that is it's your metabolic response to different foods. So the higher calorie, higher carb foods, you're gonna start messing with your hormones. The main one is insulin. You know, as you jack your insulin up because you're high in carbohydrates, what your body thinks is it's summertime, we got tons of food, let's start packing on the fat because winter's coming. So it sees this tons of carbohydrate because it's hard to get, but in the olden days, you know, the summer you had fruit, you had all this stuff that you could eat. So your body's packing it on and it thinks it's great. High insulin, your insulin level will make you gain weight. What happens when you then wintertime comes, you know, and you don't have the carbs, your insulin levels go low. When you got lower insulin levels, it tells your body to burn fat. So it's like a switch. It switches the other way. And so if you have your insulin levels low and you're not eating a ton of stuff, it'll start burning fat. Insulin levels high, it really doesn't want to burn fat. It wants to put on fat. And your insulin goes up and down with the amount of glucose in your blood. So
How about other factors? For example, I stopped smoking a few months ago. And I've seen that at the beginning, I wasn't eating too much. I was basically the same, but then like after about 6 weeks to 8 weeks, I started eating more. And was it
Probably the
basically
urge.
your chemistry in your brain when you don't have like
Yes.
cigarettes?
yes,
And then you're trying to substitute that.
yes, very much so. What do you want to eat? You probably don't want to eat a pile of salad. Your
That's correct.
body wants the thing that'll hit that same part of your head, and that's
Okay.
usually high carb,
Right.
refined carbohydrate food, a lot of sugar, a lot of flour, a lot of things like that. And it does hit that same spot
Mhm.
that cigarettes do.
So the chemistry in your brain, so gotcha.
And it's no accident that processed food's full of that. Because they wanted you to eat more. Right? So we talked a little bit about restrictive diets, and for older people, there's a big problem with it. They're often poor nutrient diets. So if you're really going on this strict, I'm just eating salad, you know, and that's it, and I'm not going to eat, what you're going to do. And for elderly people, the thing that really is a problem is you wind up with low protein, and you also could be low in your nutrients that you need for bone density and keeping your muscle mass up. Because for us, maintaining muscle mass is always going to be a struggle. Maintaining bone mass is going to be a struggle. It's something that we got to really start watching. You didn't have to watch it when you're young, but now it's something to look for. So if you're going to eat this kind of diet, you're probably going to miss out on nutrients you need. So it's probably not a healthy way to go. And it doesn't really work in the long term. So we probably don't want to do that. So what do we want to do? We want to eat the apple and not the donuts. The things that you want to do for whole foods is you want to eat something that's as close to its natural state as possible. And why is that? Because if you look at carbohydrates is a good one, you know, if you look at that apple, it's sweet, it tastes good, but compared to these donuts, it's still got a lot less carbohydrate in it than a highly refined sugar and flour product, because they really put a lot of it in a small amount. So what's going to happen is you're going to eat the donut. It's going to make you feel good because just what Pedro said, it hits that part of the brain. So you want another one. And if there's another one there, you'll have another one. And that's why they come in 12. They don't sell one.
What about
Right.
frozen fruits? Like say, I do a lot of frozen fruits, like in juicing. Especially in the winter when the vegetables were not as fresh.
Well, down here, what we call minimally processed foods is frozen. Minimally processed food's good. It's the highly processed foods we don't want.
But
So
when-
it's still its natural state, but it's just frozen.
When you freeze something, do you do and lose some?
Not much. It's a great way to go. Frozen vegetables, frozen, it's convenient, it doesn't go bad. It's, you know, wonderful way to go.
So that is a good way to go.
Yeah,
Okay,
but you see, it's a whole piece of broccoli,
right.
you know, it's a whole, whatever it is, it's the whole thing. And the advantage there is the calories are lower, because what they're doing in processed foods, they're condensing the calories. So just, and this is a great example, but anything, if you're eating a bag of chips compared to a potato. It's not as dense, so you wind up eating less calories because you're eating the whole thing. It's got all its nutrients in it, which is another great benefit. The processed foods, they take most of that out. Why? Because those things make it go bad. It's kind of funny how you can take something, a processed food, and put it on your countertop and it doesn't go bad forever. I mean, because who doesn't want to eat it? The germs don't even want it. They leave it alone, It's really, but it does, it's very shelf stable, and that's one of its great advantages. So the whole idea here is to eat foods as close to their natural state as possible. Eliminate especially the refined carbs, because that's what they do. And also the refined meats. Eat your meats, as close to natural as possible. Eat your grains, whole grains. You talked about oats, but just an idea.
Right.
So if you eat here, this is organic rolled oats you can buy for cereal. Go ahead.
I just was gonna ask, the minimally processed frozen vegetables, there are no preservatives on frozen vegetables?
No. It's a great food,
Okay.
So, and how else would you get a fresh vegetable in the middle of winter? I mean, you can get them from California because where we are, but the idea that you can get all these vegetables all through the year is just great, and we should take advantage of it. So,
Don't cheeses have to have preservatives? They
No.
keep it from curdling?
no. Jesus, that's why they did it.
Hmm.
I mean, it'll mold.
Yeah.
But you gotta watch that, but the yogurts is another thing, but watch the yogurt though, because you got to have plain yogurt. You start eating any other kind of yogurt, the strawberry yogurt, look at how much sugar's in the back of it. It's packed. And the problem with even foods you might think are good, like tomato sauce, right? It's packed with sugar. It's all these processed things, they fill it up with it. All the things that you really don't want to eat. But this is just a good example. This is rolled oats. So if you want to eat oats in the morning for breakfast, like, oatmeal. And this is the typical box cereal. I mean, that's what's in that. Organic whole grain oats. That's it. That's its ingredients. This is the ingredients of the cereal. And you don't want that for dinner. But they're telling you, if Tony's telling you to eat it for dinner. I mean, and look at it. I mean, who wants that? It's like nothing good in it. And it's super high in processed sugar and carbs, and it's going to make you want to have a second bowl. You eat one, you want to have another.
I've seen and a lot of those ingredients, they use a lot of palm oil, and palm oil is that a substitute for something?
Fats are a tricky subject. I believe that I like fats that are close to nature as possible. So if you take a fat that's, extra virgin olive oil, it's just pressed, that's it. You take a fat like palm oil, lots of times it's not refined, it's not got all the stuff out of it. It's probably very good for you. We don't see it too much here, but other countries eat a lot of palm oil. Coconut oil.
It's the worst you can eat.
Which one?
Palm oil. It's an absolute worst oil for your body.
I've heard that too. That's what I was
Absolutely
asking.
terrible.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So, I was-
The fats story is, I could do a whole thing on fats, but again, I'm gonna tell you, try to eat your fats that are natural. The fats that come on the meat, fats that are in the cheese, fats that are olive oil, things like that, natural. Now, the problem with fats that we talked about before is calorie count super high. So, if you say I'm gonna have a whole foods diet, I'm just gonna, drink olive oil and eat steaks, yeah, you're on a whole foods diet, but your calories are through the roof, and you could say the same thing with, I'm just gonna eat boxes of rolled oats, you have to still watch how much you're eating. So, but if you're eating the whole food, you're gonna be full, you get satiated, you don't want to just keep eating more. And that's the big problem with a lot of processed foods. You don't really get full. You are full, but you want it. And it really works against you.
Don't Americans typically eat 3 or 4 times the portion of food that they
Yeah.
actually eat?
Yeah.
And they're served in restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Huge amounts of food.
I mean, a nice way to eat your plate is split it up in thirds, a small amount of protein, and then two vegetables, watch the high starch vegetables. If you eat a lot of them, again, the calorie count goes up. So stay away from anything like processed carbohydrates, pastas. You can even get closer to nature processed with whole grain and stuff like that. But again, it's all condensed again. And that's what you gotta watch. You can wind up eating a lot of it. So, all right. How do you know how much you're eating? So, we had an exercise, and what we did is and I'll show you how this is done. We took a normal dish, and I used shepherd's pie, and actually I'm cooking one now, so we can taste the final version in a minute. So this is where the first one came out. And how do I know all that about my shepherd's pie? How do I know that my recipe is like this? And that's the tool we're going to talk about here, and this is called Chronometer. And I hope it opens up on the screen. It might not. I think if I duplicate my screen settings, let's see what happens. Ah, good. Okay. So what Chronometer is, oh, now you're seeing me up there. How this works is, I'm going to pull me down.
Just minimize it, click the minimize.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so the way this works, it's a pretty cool tool. I'm not gonna go do the whole thing, but just the idea is anything you put in here, it'll tell you what its nutrition value is. So if I go up here and I say, I'm gonna make something and it's got a banana in it. So I put a banana in. And let's say, I did apples, I think. What did I do? So let's say I put 1 teaspoon. It doesn't matter what I put, we just add it. So I hit butter by accident. So this is going to tell you how much the butter is in both calories, protein, and everything that's involved in it. So what it does is and not only that, it'll tell you everything all the way down, all the different foods that it has in it. And so you add it up. I'm not going to do all this for you because it'll take too long, but you can just keep adding your foods. Say you put rice in there, you add it, and you keep going. Okay, go ahead.
That's a good thing you started with butter, because I was thinking, I like certain types of butter. And you have good butter, then you have other types of butter.
Yeah, I mean,
That's it, tell you specifically.
a lot of people
which
think
type.
goat butter is a great food.
Yeah,
Again, you gotta watch calories.
so what I'm saying is that, in meter, it tells you, or you have to be specific.
Yep, I bet you it has goat butter.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
This thing's got quite the database. It doesn't have everything, but I mean,
And the barcode.
yeah, you can.
Get the barcode with it. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. You spell it in the code wrong.
Oh, that would help, right?
Let's say some goat butter though.
That's goat butter. We used to have one
I've
at,
never heard of good butter.
Me
Me either, I've never had
Harris
goat
Theater and Wegmans. They used to have one, and they got rid of it.
There you go.
And they got rid of it.
Goat butter.
There you go.
I've never tried it.
It was.
I mean, this database is huge.
It's supposed to be healthier.
Oh, that's not the point here, but people say goat butter's good. It's whole, natural,
Right.
But the idea is you can find out what you're cooking and how good it is for you. So, but another thing that you can do over here is put recipes in, and that's what I was going to show you. So I put in some recipes, and the one that I started with was the original shepherd's pie. So it'll have everything that's in it, and I just added it because I went off the recipe, and it'll tell you, hold on. There's the recipe. Down here, I put the how it's made. It has the, instructions, and then you get this. You get the nutritional value of it, which is really kind of powerful. And then you can even change it to a serving size. So now you can see what 1 serving of it is. And so you say to yourself, well, maybe this is too much calories. Maybe I want to adjust it. So what you do is you make a copy of it and you start substituting things. And you can watch and see what it does to the values of it. So then we did is in our class, we had to do a project to customize it. So let me go back to my recipe. We worked on that. We made another one. This was for the redo. And we made some changes to it and it came out a lot less calories and a lot more healthy meal. Now, carbs went down, that went down, we reduced a lot of things. So what I did is I just substitute things. What I did is I reduced the amount of potatoes. I took a bunch, I mean, it was a ton of lamb. It was over a pound of lamb in the original one. So I cut that to 8 ounces and then put 8 ounces of turkey in it. And then I put a lot more vegetables in it because I took the amount of potato out, so I had to fill it up, and I filled it up with, vegetables. And honestly, I think this tastes better than the original. I really like this one. And so we were then said, well, wait, let's look at this and see if we want to make it a little better. And one thing we noticed was the protein level had gone down a lot because we took a lot of the meat out, and so we wanted to maybe keep reducing the calories, but also push up the protein a little bit. So I put beans in it. I put what else? And some spinach, and did another work, and it came back a little bit better. And actually, if you want, we can go back to the presentation. And you can see side by side. I started with something with this much calories, 16 grams of saturated fat, went down to 5 grams of saturated fat. And down here is 4.9 grams of saturated fat. The calories are way lower. The protein is not as high, but I did get it back up again. It went from 29 because it was all meat, to 15, then back up to 16 because I made another adjustment. So that's the power of this tool, and it's free. So if you're just making a recipe, you have no idea if it's good for you, pop it in here and save it.
So with a tool like the chronometer, you definitely want a scale to be on top of that. To use it with it, so you can measure the weight.
It goes
of what you
teaspoons, tablespoons, cups, ounces. When you put it in, it gives you a choice of what, say you put like butter in there, you can put it in as grams,
need. Oh,
tablespoons,
gotcha.
whatever you want. So it's really simple.
And the
takes
meat
no time.
also, like ounces,
Yep.
pounds would be better. at the
Whatever you got
scale.
it in, it's gonna be there.
It-
So it's real simple. I mean, I'm telling you, it's like the simplest thing ever to do. Takes you, once you got a recipe on a piece of paper, takes you 10 minutes to put it in here. But then it opens your eyes a bit. Because you'd be making something and then you say, well, this is the way I should make it. So you save that recipe. And it also has the recipe in there, has the instructions in there. You just make it that way next time. And it shows you what you want. So it's really a kind of really powerful tool. So I think it's something that you can use for just if you want to see what you're eating, if it's how good it is or how isn't, it'll break down the carb. And like I said, showed you before, it breaks everything down. It's not just, the macros, it does all the micros too, which is like here's the one.
How long have you used it as so far? Have you been using it a while?
Yeah, we used it a lot in my class.
No, at home, I mean, to eat. Or you haven't been using it?
Yeah, I use it for the recipes we're gonna make, but it's kind of cool too. I'm trying to get this to go. But look, it's also got, all the vitamins, all the carbs. It'll tell you the proteins, which amino acids it's got. I mean, if you really get into it, it's got everything, so. Oh, fiber too. That's the other thing I wanted to push up. I'm sorry, I forgot. I wanted the protein to go up and I wanted the fiber to go up. And so I pushed those two up in the third recipe. And so it's a great tool. And you can save it and it's free. They do have a purchase version that does more stuff, but it's really kind of powerful for people who are trying to figure out what their diet is. Because you're guessing, So the next thing we're going to do is have a setup over here. So Homemade stuff. One of the things about Whole Foods is you're probably gonna have to cook. You're gonna have to, make it yourself. You can't just go to McDonald's and get it. So, we're gonna have a demonstration of a couple of things. One of the things is a little pet peeve of mine is you're trying to eat healthy, so you have salad. And what do you pour over a salad? Go in a bottle, get a bottle of salad dressing, and you pour it all over it. And there's the ingredients of the ranch that you buy in the store. And this is the ingredients of the ranch we're gonna make. So again, you're back having a whole food. And here you're getting a ton of stuff. And we're also gonna do it with homemade mayonnaise. So
Gotta get one of those stick.
yes, now I'll make the mayonnaise real quick. We're not gonna all do it because it's just too messy. And it's, I have to have 7 of these wands. It's not really, it's so simple. You watch how easy it is. It takes a second.
I tried to do it the other day with my hand mixer and it didn't work.
No, you gotta get one of those. I'll show you. I will do it now. We're gonna do a little cooking demo. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to make homemade mayonnaise, because then you don't have to use all the unhealthy fats in the mayonnaise that you buy and all these things, which I'm not 100% sure what they are. The one thing I do know is mayonnaise from the store doesn't go bad. Mayonnaise that I make after a week or so gets mold. So I think it's good that things like to eat my stuff. Because when mold doesn't want to eat something, it sort of makes me wonder.
It's weird they have so many like flours, like you showed the cereal ingredients, there was like corn flour, like wheat flour, like why are there so many different flours in it? Like what's the difference between, like why are they giving them so many different names? Like, it's just,
Okay, so when you make a flour, you're taking a grain and grinding it and pulling out things, or you can leave it whole grain, and that's what whole grain flour is, but typically it's just white flour, they take the germ out. And the germ is what's healthy. That's why people like whole grain. But it could be corn flour, it could be one of the tricks they like to do, though, they do this a lot with sugar. But they also do this with flour, is they like the ingredients have to be up top. The first thing is what's most in it. And it's sometimes not this one, but if this one, it does have sugar, though, a lot of it, it's up there above there. Say you don't want that sugar to be so high, what they'll do is they'll put sugar in, they'll put maltodextrin in, they'll put, corn syrup. So they split it, even though at the end of the day, it's all sugar. So then it goes way down on the list, down in here, so it doesn't look like your second ingredient's sugar. So
Yeah, but if you read the ranch ingredients, they're hard to like process internally, because say with the sugar, it says less than 1% of. Now is that 1% of what's
this
in the
stuff.
bottle? Right.
Not
So
this stuff. This
is
stuff
the
is the main thing.
1% of serving, less than 1% of serving.
It's a percentage, so yeah.
So what does that actually mean? Is it for the whole in bottle that you're gonna, that?
Yeah, so sugar is not less than 1%. Sugar's, and if you look at the other part of it'll say added sugar. If you look at the other label, this one, it'll always tell you. Where was I? Like these labels will tell you the added sugar.
So that would tell you more.
Yeah.
Of the fact, that would be on the other side of the bottle.
Right, but since we're not going to be eating processed foods, we're not going to have to read labels anymore. Because the best food doesn't have labels.
Correct.
You don't like reading labels, you buy food that doesn't have label, like you go down the vegetable aisle and you get that. You go down the meats aisle, you go down the fresh foods aisle, they don't have labels because you know what it is by looking at it.
Well, some in meats, they do add, like I remember years ago, they were saying like in beef, they were adding some type of solution to the beef to.
If they add something to it, they have to put on the
Yeah.
label,
Yeah. They do add stuff,
but if they don't have to put it on.
but
All right, so let's try this, because I tried to get you out of here in an hour,
I
so.
was trying to get the chronometer, I'll have to do it again.
Okay,
I'm definitely gonna get that.
Yeah.
just
I
the
kind of want to
combination.
film it, so I'm gonna,
It'll give you gold.
You used it before?
Yeah.
okay, let's make sure we're still filming, because I'm supposed to turn this in for my project.
They're gonna know you're an Orioles fan.
Of course, I read the reels. Okay, so first off, we're gonna Start with homemade mayonnaise.
Mm.
So you can come over here if you want.
My brother.
After you. Got a good arm, big guy.
I go up and down the ladder every day.
You're only doing that when I'm around. or
Yeah,
you're-
no, we're all every day, work. That's what I do, up and down the
Well, that'd
ladder.
be like.
I gotta hold on, 3 points, because you don't
Then
wanna
we
slip.
were all gonna make
If you do 2
ranch
points.
dressing and take it home.
Yay.
3 points.
That's what I
3
wanted.
points, so with 2 points, I allow them to go. 3 you can't, right?
I was trying to
1,
make
2, 3.
Caesar dressing, I made homemade Caesar
Once you
dressing.
get that-
I was trying to make that
Oh.
mayonnaise.
That's homemade
Terrible.
mayonnaise there.
61st.
That's what I really,
Sorry.
We'll see.
I like just homemade mayonnaise.
Nice
too. It's
olive
like
oil
so
there.
good.
Very good. I'm paying.
Bad.
That's from Baltimore. That's a Baltimore
Eat with
institution
ranch.
right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff right there.
They're gonna make you an offer you can't refuse.
I like Caesar dressing.
Study.
That's better. And the kids
James,
like
go out.
it, so I could get like homemade it better.
Okay.
You
need one of these.
Father,
I use
man.
anchovy paste.
Really?
And it was actually not hard. But it's only agreed to do like mayonnaise, lemons. other stuff. But it wasn't hard. It was good. Johnny did.
Do you make it in May?
Me and Johnny
Mayonnaise?
did.
You mix it back.
Yeah, well, you gotta emulsify it.
John, if
That's
they're
how you
eating
want it.
anything.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself.
So picky.
No, that's a,
Like,
that's a big.
eggs, I feel like
Yeah,
it made me
yeah,
fresh. Then all the kids like
Yeah.
eating all the leftovers.
Okay.
Oh,
So you start with whatever oil you want. And I like to use olive oil. Part of the problem with extra virgin olive oil, sometimes it's super strong. And your mayonnaise is just gonna taste like that olive oil.
Good association about olive oil. A lot of people don't know this. I read in the Wall Street Journal a few years ago. It says Italian olive oil. Most of the oil at this time now it is
It's fake.
different. And now, it doesn't come from Italy, it comes from Spain.
Oh, okay, but that's fine. I mean,
It
where it
might
comes
be
from.
processed in Italy.
There is a
but
lot
it's
of,
not olives or
there is a
Spanish.
lot of fraud in olive oil.
Yes, there is.
You'll notice that if you make your dressing and you put it in the fridge, it doesn't get hard. It's probably not olive oil. It should get hard, you know, you don't have to put olive oil in the fridge.
Well, how do you know if it's a fraud?
I get good brands. I mean, Pompeii's a good brand. California's a good brand. The other thing that they have is, there's a couple brands here. I'll show you those.
Stay away from Corleone.
Yeah.
Orleone?
Yeah.
This one
Crime.
is really good too, but it's for like just something like you want to drizzle on something. It's very strong flavor. So if I use this one for this, that's really gonna taste not like mayonnaise. It's gonna taste like olive oil, like aioli, and it's good, but
So the more extra in virgin.
no, this
the
is both
more-
extra virgin.
So in a more of a harder taste on the
It
oil.
has to do with which olives they do.
Or the olives.
Yeah,
So the
Where it's
extra
grown.
virgin or regular olive oil, that's not what I have,
extra virgin is what you want.
is what you want.
That's not processed.
Okay.
That means they squeeze the
Uh-huh,
olives, pull all the oil out, and then they serve it to
so
you.
that's what it means, extra virgin, that is not processed.
That's what you wanna get.
Mm.
It also has a flavor to it. So all extra virgin oils, it's gonna taste more like what it is.
Gotcha.
They refine it by bleaching it and get all that out of there. Some is minimally processed. Tend to just get stuff that's not processed. I also used avocado oil. The one thing nice about this is it's light tasting, so it doesn't, so I mix it when I make it. So I do half and half.
And.
But that's
and
high in
Mexico,
fat,
is that-
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah,
that from
this is
Mexico?
super high in fat. It's mayonnaise.
All the avocado oils I try to get are all like refined.
Yeah, they do.
Full press.
Right. It's hard to find it because I think, I don't know. I also like to use virgin sesame oil, but not the toasted. I like to take flavor that, but it does definitely put a flavor in it. So you put any oil you want in here. Try to get a good oil, get extra virgin oil, get something that's healthy for you, because there's a lot of great value in eating this. If you're gonna eat this as your fats, it's a healthy one. You know, as opposed to like canola oil, which is, I don't like that process.
Did I miss it, or did you put half the amount of avocado that you did in the
Yeah,
virgin?
half a
Okay.
cup, half a cup.
I had no idea there's that much oil.
That's all mayonnaise is.
Makes me not want to eat mayonnaise.
I think you should eat it.
Well, this one's probably good, but the other one is probably all the bad stuff.
I think you should eat it, just not lots of it. Like I said, healthy fats are really good for you. But they're super high in calories, but your body needs them for a lot of things. So you, like salad dressing, how much salad dressing do you put on salad? I mean. Some people cloud it, but you shouldn't put a lot on it.
Jim's a little
You should
bit-
just use a little bit, you know?
Taste.
I don't wanna taste any of them.
Unless it's balsamic vinaigrette, I put a lot of
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you a recipe for that.
it. I do love that stuff.
Yeah, I'll give you, I got it
What
here
was
in my handouts.
Balsamic vinaigrette.
Yeah. So for
That
this
makes really
then,
good.
we put a little bit of lemon juice in. It's right, nutritious. Little bit of mustard.
Did you,
How do you feel about
wash your hands?
Yes, I did before we did all this.
Thank you, Lord.
How do you
Just
feel
in the
about
kitchen.
lemon juice you should
Just
buy?
that little bit of mustard.
Mustard is an emulsifier,
What type of mustard is that?
Dijon.
Just Dijon. You can use any type? Or is it recommended?
I use Dijon mustard because it's good, but it's a emulsifier which will help this stay together.
Gotcha.
I put that in, little bit of vinegar, because I like the taste, plus it makes it last longer.
Is that white vinegar?
Yeah, you can use any vinegar you want.
There's a lot of vinegars too.
Wine vinegar is good too,
Yeah.
but
You-
that
that is-
white vinegar might be better.
No, the wine vinegar's great.
Yeah.
Balsamic vinegar's awesome, but it's gonna taste like balsamic vinegar.
Exactly.
It's not gonna taste like mayonnaise.
You put salt.
Oh, yeah, it needs salt. There's a lot of salt in mayonnaise. But there's another advantage of salt. Salt, keeps it from going bad.
Preserve.
That was just a pinch anyways.
Yeah, and like mayonnaise, you're not supposed to eat tons of it.
Right.
I mean, we're gonna eat a little
And
bit.
this will last you 1 week, you said?
Yeah, it does go bad, so keep it in the fridge.
Preserve.
Like I said, the more vinegar, lemon and salt you put in, the longer it's gonna last. But it does get moldy like cheese. So,
How do you feel about the lemon juice concentrate that you can buy in the store to use? Is that processed?
I don't use it. It's usually got some other stuff in it. If it's 100% lemon juice, then that's good.
Okay.
Look and see if it's got chemicals, but lemons are cheap. And easy to use. I like just buying the food, you know? So, okay, so wait, and then the egg. You can, some people say to just separate the yolk out, but you don't have to. You can add more yolk if you want. Now you talked about fat and yolk is all fat. So you're a mixture of yolk and oil. So the mayonnaise is pretty much a fat. But if you're gonna eat it, use healthy ones. And watch the amounts.
Yeah.
So now we gotta make it work. Here's how you make mayonnaise. And sometimes it doesn't work. The idea here is just no rush, take some time. And then it'll start coming up. And you just slowly get all the oil involved in it. Now you have mayonnaise.
Wow.
Now, are you able to add anything, the taste is not pure?
Actually, that's what they call aioli. There's a lot of things you can add to
You can
this.
add to it whatever you want.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a great thing to do.
Can't believe all that liquid turned to
Wow.
that.
That's very simple to do. Now, we're not gonna have to use this because we don't have time to do all the cleanups. But
I like that.
I want that mayonnaise.
Oh, yeah.
I wanna make that mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I made some last night. So we all have some
Yeah.
to use. So gather around and we're gonna try to make we're gonna make homemade ranch. So I'm gonna give you all the recipes.
That little Red Bull mine.
Yeah, there you go.
So pretty much anything you buy at the store in a bottle or in a can or in a bag, you can have it at home made. More in the naturally, is that what you're gonna
Yeah.
tell us? I like that. Of course, it's more time consuming.
All right, so here's the recipe.
It's worth it.
Go over a second, put my glasses on, so everybody get a bowl.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You wanna vote for? There you go.
Thank you very much.
Everybody got one? Spoon.
Let me put this one out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I got these cups because I don't have a bunch of measuring cups, but these are 10 ounces and we want to get 8 ounces in each one, so you don't have to be too exact with this stuff. But we're trying for 1 cup. I'm sorry, half a cup. So that's,
A half a cup? Not-
Yeah.
not
This
six.
is 10, but you want 8 ounces.
Yes.
so you're
Cause
saying-
eight. was
no, I want
four-
4 ounces, I take that back.
Oh.
Four ounces. So I want about half of this.
Okay.
Okay, have a cup.
So we're gonna start with mayonnaise. Actually, I'll use the one I just.
I think he's setting us up.
So 2.
We're building a chemical weapon here.
Yeah.
He's saying it's ranch, but really. I guess that's that.
So only half, you put half of it on.
Yep.
Right, you was good enough?
Yeah. Cause you wanna get the same amount of sour cream as.
Slow up over here.
So just because I'm without having this, I gotta like that.
Oh, you already got it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, put that in the bowl.
You put it in the bowl, you said?
Yep.
This is fun.
The
No,
next,
that's made that in software. right?
Yeah.
the next thing is sour cream. Now, I like to use a sour cream that has. One ingredient. Milk.
No.
Ah, all right.
That's the only ingredient?
That's it.
Hmm.
You can also use, if you're, now, we talked about fat and high fat and. If you want to, another thing to use is yogurt, and I brought out some 0 fat yogurt we can use in place of the sour cream. They both work, they taste a little different, but.
I'll do the yogurt too.
I rather have yogurt.
I'm doing the sour cream. How much sugar? Same amount. Absolutely.
So I don't like it as strong.
Do you have a clean spoon I can use? Or this one is made?
Have a cup.
Yeah, let me get some more. That's a good idea. Why don't we do one spoon in each of those?
Yeah.
1 spoon.
Yeah, could just be for the yogurt.
I don't like to do.
Yeah, we could use in the
They don't
same.
mix.
Yeah,
spoon.
that's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
use the same spoon.
I got 1 spoon for
Just pass
this.
it around.
Yeah, so.
Oh, God.
Same
So,
amount.
the same, okay.
Pass this as many less than that. Yours got all the protein.
I think you overfilled yours.
Actually, sour cream has a lot.
I almost did.
Yeah.
It's out of milk, but no, yogurt's good for you. I eat a lot of yogurt.
Doesn't yogurt have yogurt in it?
Probably.
I think it does.
Yogurt starts with milk, but then it's.
And yogurt really doesn't taste that different than sour cream.
Yeah.
Because I've used it for
Not
like
yet.
tacos and stuff, it's like better than the sour cream, like
Right.
it's almost exactly.
Everybody's got that in there.
Step 2 done.
Okay, so now we're doing chives. We're gonna have to share a little
Oh,
bit
gosh,
here.
Love
Hold on.
Chive.
crazy.
So we're gonna have 2 teaspoons of chives.
I'm in a hurry.
You can,
Much, sir.
it's better with fresh, but fresh you wind up using a lot more. So 2 teaspoons of chives. I think I got 2 things of chives. So maybe 2 of these measuring.
Fresh versus.
Fresh is better, but they're the same. This is dry, so this is more convenient.
What are you using?
Chives.
Teaspoon here, 2 of them, right? 2 teaspoons. Oops. Spices remind me of weed.
Think of it towards flat right
Yeah,
here.
just plastic. Plastic, sure.
I don't think that's old.
Plastic.
Yeah.
We have so many plastics in our food nowadays. And microplastics or whatever they call them. Yeah, they're terrible. Some people don't even drink them out of water because.
Okay, so everybody got
Oh, gosh.
chives?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I thought.
And
Is that the right, that's a teaspoon? Am I giving, I put it in.
Yep, 2 teaspoons.
Yeah, open it.
We're gonna throw this in the trash.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me one second.
I think we're gonna.
I was gonna go
I'm
yogurt,
trying to
but
open it.
those went yogurt, so I joined you.
I'm struggling here.
Here, want my super sharp knife?
You can use
Be
it.
very careful with this knife. Liam got me this. It's crazy sharp.
You must believe in your dad trusting him with a nice sharp knife.
It's good. The Japanese knife is nice.
And that food smells good, whatever you're cooking in there, man.
That's a shepherd's pie, a healthy shepherd's pie.
Brother.
Next, we're gonna go to parsley.
Oh, thank you. And how much you put in there?
Parsley, we're only doing a half
Like this.
a teaspoon.
Half a teaspoon of what?
Parsley.
I used to have experience with that when I was in the street.
It will. I always bang it when I cook it.
Oh, you have a measure.
Like, teaspoon? I forget.
Which one you want, chives still, or no, parsley? Parsley's a half. And again, with these kind of things too, you can
You need a,
That one.
adjust it the way you like
Yeah,
it.
you can
This is
do
gonna be
that
the
one.
best meeting I've ever had in my life.
It's gonna be good for you.
I have for a whole,
You're gonna do two of those.
I'll do those.
It's better than the stuff in the store.
So funny. Just like the better oils.
Damn.
Bring that back around and be.
This reminds me of the old
What
days.
do you want in there?
reminds me of the old day.
Okay, so we did that, now we gotta get to the dill.
Gotcha.
Dill, we're putting in another half a teaspoon of dill. How you guys keeping up?
Yeah.
Is that it? Oh,
Well-
good.
I got you, I got you.
Yeah, you can get both of that.
Is this it? No, this one.
No, you forget half.
Is it
Now
that
you know.
one? Which one is that? Is it this is the one I used over
That's the full.
there. Okay.
You want
Is that it?
this one?
Thank you very much.
Probably for that too.
Ooh, I need
Liam has
powder.
those.
So only one of these or two of these again?
One.
Only one.
Used to put onion powder, everything.
Give,
Now-
give it to your dad.
Thank you.
You need some too.
Oh, you
Oh, you need
that-
measure.
that far back?
Oh, here, throw some in here. Give him a
Yeah.
nice good dill. Help
Are you
Pedro
okay
out.
if I do it
Pedro
for
needs,
you?
Pedro needs an assistant.
Assistance over here.
Well, once it's finished.
Thank you very much. Wonderful.
And now we're going to the garlic powder. Now be careful, not garlic salt. This is
You
garlic
made a
powder.
mistake.
So
Yeah,
what do
you
we
do
put?
half a teaspoon.
Half, okay.
If you put garlic salt in, this is gonna come out very salty. Garlic powder, and this is just granulated garlic.
It ruined meatballs that way.
What is this, half a teaspoon?
Half, yep.
Go.
You know what I mean, when you like making something, it's like stuck in there, but.
Like this.
Yeah, I kind of- I kind
Food
of
waste.
do.
It's like I always yell at the kids when they don't
So
eat.
you
their
go
food.
around, just go around with that, and then we'll go around with this
I think
next.
2 seconds later, like, "Ah, okay."
The onion salt,
Onion powder.
onion powder.
Again, if you do the salt, you
do
want it
salt,
way
yeah.
too salty. Because we're gonna add salt.
Yeah, I like onion.
Oh, food, you said?
Yep.
One.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this in yours then.
Yeah, just go ahead. Let me use this in the bathroom real quick. Sure.
So you mix what you mix with the mixture is what's in here.
Yeah.
We start, you do that first, that's the base, and then you go.
So you don't use store bought mayonnaise. We all caught up?
Yep.
Okay, the next thing is that you put the garlic, it's quarter to a half a teaspoon of salt. Salt is a very necessary ingredient in your body, but if you got high blood pressure and you're trying to keep your blood pressure down, a lot of people really need to limit this, so that's your call.
That's like, this that quarter?
I put a quarter in, it says a quarter to a half. Put a quarter.
We haven't done anything yet, but you're all caught up.
I'm good. Excellent. What, you got the heat on or something?
No, there's so many people.
Yeah.
Everybody stop breathing.
Yeah.
Everyone use less salt.
You can.
Supposed to be used for the potassium.
You want more, I didn't do a whole.
Yeah, it goes out
That's
even
so-
chloride.
that's-
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's so many, there's a lot of information on salt. The way the curve goes, it's like a U. Too little salt is very dangerous. Your body uses it in so many things, and too much salt is, some people, and the problem is, not the problem. The big range where you're supposed to be at, it's like 3,000. Milligrams, it's a huge amount.
That's a
Do you
good
think
one.
less? I'll do more.
Yes, but
But no.
if you're not eating processed foods, your salt level is gonna go way down, but again, as we're older. You got high blood pressure, you're probably limiting salt, You're trying to keep on the low end of that, so you don't want no salt.
I took,
Okay, we're down to, the only thing we have to add now is black pepper. And, I'll just grind that in. Honestly, I'm measuring more than I normally do. I don't normally measure. Just a couple grinds of black pepper, that's how you like it. And then we're all gonna squeeze in some fancy lemon juice.
Tell me when to stop.
Yeah,
and how much we put?
just a couple grinds.
Whatever you like, I put.
If
more
you
than-
like it, put more in.
I put more than a couple.
Squeeze in some lemon, watch the seeds, try to get them through your hands.
We have one, please. Thank you, sir.
Like these two.
Just put them here, throw them however you want.
Make sure you don't squirt nobody's eyes.
Yeah, that does hurt. And again, when you start making this,
Thank you.
if you decide that you like more lemon or less salt, or, this is your recipe, it's not, you don't have to follow these things, to the T, so. You wanna wipe your hands off here. Sure. You should.
And the bowl.
And the lemon used for, emulsify, is it?
That's actually just the flavor, this will multiply the all thick, but. All right, so now what we do is we mix it up and it's gonna be thick.
Mix it.
Yeah, mix it up. You typically use a whisk, but I don't have 6 whisks,
There you go.
so sorry. But it'll work.
And do like scrambled eggs.
Yeah, you got it.
There you go.
You might notice it's starting to smell like ranch dressing.
Yeah. There is.
So they sell like the ranch dressing packets, like this is seasoning? Is that okay, or you can?
No, it's got all the same stuff in it.
Mm.
I mean, read it. And let me know. Now, there's 2 things you gotta know about this. It's already a little thick. I like it. But if you're using it for wings and stuff, this is okay, but you gotta add the buttermilk now. And the buttermilk is what you fit it up with. And the other thing you'll find is when you put this in the fridge, it's gonna get thicker. So when you put it in tomorrow, it'll be thicker. So they say to use a quarter to a half a cup, so go back to our measuring cups. Start with a quarter. And then,
No matter what.
and really what you're doing here is you're gonna add this until it's the right thickness.
No measurement?
It's a quarter to a half a cup, so use that to judge that. And again, it's not bad to be a little soupy because it's gonna firm up a little bit, So a little thicky, but soupy doesn't.
Now, this, shelf life is the same as the
Yeah.
mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Is it the same?
Oh, yeah, the same as homemade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
the
what I
problem.
made.
It'll last, actually, this will last,
A little longer, maybe?
yeah, over a week.
Ranch dressing.
It is ranch dressing. It's better for you too, and it's really tasty ranch.
The mayonnaise with the base.
Yeah.
I like the blue cheese that you made. That's
And
good.
again, you can do all sorts of stuff with this,
You made homemade blue cheese.
with its
Oh,
mayonnaise, it's
okay.
really good.
Perfect consistency.
I know.
So you can add ingredient cheese to this if you want.
You can do whatever you want, make it your own dress.
Make it your own dressing. I like that.
That's gonna thicken up a little bit.
Yeah, I find that after it goes back,
Mine's
the same with
already
the,
kind of thick, should I put more?
yeah, put more into it's nice and light dressing. And then, or however you like it.
I want to try it.
Here you go, I got little celery stalks for you to try it.
Very nice,
So take a couple of them and try it.
very nice.
Don't touch your stalks. Didn't watch any.
It'll also, the dried herbs
You think you want?
yeah, will start to, after a day in the fridge, it'll taste a little more dill, it'll taste a little more, you know, because those will start to come out. If you use fresh, you don't have to worry so much about that.
Delicious.
Like it.
Oh, yeah, but
This is like, in a home economics, remember, in a home economics, you ever had in school?
We'll get to check out on Kentucky's home.
Yay.
We're not throwing it out.
That's really good.
Thank you very much.
It's good, isn't it?
it's awesome.
Is it hard?
I'm never gonna buy, in dressing at the store anymore.
And the idea is if you're trying to, say you're trying to eat well, so you're eating a salad, why take that nice salad and make it unhealthy by pouring chemicals off?
The Brad had talked about balsam.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Okay, but what about store-bought balsam?
Yeah, I mean, most of balsamic vinegar is, they take wine and they let it ferment into the. So it's good. It's minimal process is what that's called.
All the dressing.
Pinch it tight.
Yeah, the canola oil is not the best oil in the world. It would be good if they didn't process it the way they process it, but then it would taste so bad that nobody would eat it. And they put a ton of. They make it a GMO, and the reason they make it GMO isn't so. You know, it tastes or anything different, it's so it will withstand Roundup.
Let's give us hamburger.
Genetically modified, so
That's right.
the new canola oil, the rapeseed that it's made out of, you can just just douse it in Roundup to your cart's consent, and it won't die. But it'll kill all the weeds around it, so they use a ton of that on it.
Jeez.
Is it true that all this niche agriculture?
Yeah, I'll send you a brand,
operations is, and genetic in butterfly seeds, and you have to pay them for the usage?
Yeah,
I just true.
I think so.
I've heard about that. I don't know if it's true or not.
So now you all have homemade ranch dressing with homemade mayonnaise, and it took us 15 minutes.
Nice.
That was awesome. I like that.
And a lot of ingredients that you probably have at home.
Right. Now. Get your stuff, oh, well, let me get you all packed up.
Okay, I was gonna say, I learned something. I learned a lot. It's really educational. But you just clarifying the difference between the garlic powder versus the garlic salt. You know, just those differences can make a big difference, but like a diabetic like myself.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
And it'll taste awful. You're like, why is this so
So
salty?
I did that, I made a turkey meatballs the other day. I put them in the crock pot for 4 hours, and instead of garlic, just regular garlic, I already put salt in it, and it was garlic salt.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
nobody ate them. It was like a 6-hour process. And I was like, oh gosh, kids are just being so extra, and I thought, I didn't even eat them. They were so salty. It was so bad.
You know, that,
Will you put the spoons on
Right there.
those?
I just throw it in the sink. Yeah, I can clean up later anyways. We got a little bit more presentation. to do.
You got helpers here.
no,
Let me get it out.
that's what. That's
The same
what.
one.
Can we get that?
Very much.
It's good stuff.
You better hold on to that, Liam.
I am.
You don't want
Yeah.
the face.
That's right. Wrap one of the mayonnaises too on the way out. if you
Oh,
want.
yeah, I want the mayonnaise. Which one?
Cause I had one in there and it'll go bad before I get it all done, so I can't eat like jars.
I want that one.
How long does this last in the fridge, right?
I'd say a week and a half.
Week.
You'll see if it molds.
Mine won't make it that far.
My ranch dressing will last 3 months, something like that. The fans.
I know.
Fridge.
It never goes bad. I
Put
mean,
it
I,
in the fridge,
mayonnaise
okay.
the same way. It just sits there forever. That's nuts. I use all, but that's what the chemicals are for.
The labels scare me off with most of the range dresses, so this is.
Yeah, it should.
And mine is all the way the bottom on the door in the back where there's a plastic. It's speckles.
I'll find me a spot too,
Yeah.
because, we all made out different.
Nah.
That's
I'll
good.
risk it all.
Mine is
It's
complicated, so.
Make some mayonnaise ice cream.
Take over an hour, sorry.
Yeah.
Smells like lamb.
You wanna?
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the presentation.
Start closing this up. I'm still closing this up.
Coffee shop.
Are we still online?
Yeah, we're gonna finish up here. Where's my my video?
Right here.
Sure.
You know about this, Jasmine? Thanks for eating jasmine green tea. If you like green tea, this is the way to go. Sugar free, delicious. High quality jasmine.
Yes, we need to.
Yeah, you don't have time. Brain turn me on with this. I'm gonna buy myself a case.
He's doing so good. He's doing so good.
I don't know where my
That's good.
video went.
This was a genuinely helpful presentation.
Oh, because you're still on screen share, Frank.
Yeah, but that's what I want. I want it to be both. Hold on.
It's not like full screen anymore. It's like duplicating the screen.
Figure it out. You don't know.
Oh, this is right. I know to find it.
Them big time people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even use this. This is for like chefs and people.
Well, he is. He's that too.
You got two of them.
First time I ever seen one of this at the restaurant, I was like, I was trying to open it. and
There we
somebody said,
go.
"No, you gotta grind it." Oh, okay. I'm sure everybody. I'm not special, right? Am I special with
Well,
that?
I mean, that's my dad, so I.
No, you guys, the first time you ever.
There we
seen
go.
these at the
Oh,
restaurant,
I've definitely just been like,
yeah, I was
what's
happy.
happening?
Right, that was funny.
I grew up near Little Italy, and this, it wasn't the good part, I was in project. But they was on the tables every year,
All right, presentation part two.
Almost done.
this is good.
Very good
Want to
presentation.
discuss some common triggers. Because this is another problem with food and maybe I'm gonna talk about a couple I know of. Sort of foods that you can't eat one. They have that old Lay's commercial, that you can't eat just one, but it's on purpose. They make the food that you can't eat just one because it hits you and it's got the salt, sugar and fats that you really crave and it makes you want to eat more. So it's the other reason why when you're walking around your office and they have donuts or candy, it's difficult to walk past that.
Yes.
You have an urge to grab it. It's a trigger. The other one that is common is emotional eating. Don't feel good, so eat something, make yourself feel better. Boredom, just eating because you're bored.
Yep.
Activities like video games and TV. Sometimes it's easy to sit there with a bag of chips and
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
How about you guys? What are your triggers?
Those.
Those?
Everything you just said, especially the video games and chips and
Or
chocolate
like
ice
the
cream.
End of the week, it's like, oh, I earned it. I deserve that.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
could go on.
or like something like
I
that.
do that all the time.
Yeah, like people think
Yeah,
like the
the big
weekend, it's like your
Yeah.
cheat day, it's like the whole entire weekend.
I got through
Being
this.
what?
I did
Being
that.
awake.
Yeah.
Being awake, that's your trigger?
Have you ever
Oh,
cover, I'm sorry, or did you guys ever cover in your classroom why, like, if you walk next to like a restaurant or a Burger King, McDonald's, you smell all this food? And it smells really good, coming from the outside. But when you go inside, is there like something that the restaurants can do to trigger your senses?
They serve you food that you really want.
No, like the smell from
It
the
does, yeah.
outside, like I got
It hits your olfactory center.
like a Greek place, right?
They used to do it in theaters. They would,
Theaters.
my grandfather
Yeah.
worked at the theater and they would pump this popcorn smell into the theater.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember that.
I don't know if they do it anymore.
They outlaw, they outlaw.
I think they do.
Yeah, I would-
We
Did they
did the
outlaw?
other day,
Yeah.
so it's like popcorn, they're on the
They
whole
should,
thing.
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an old thing.
It's a trigger.
Yeah.
It does smell good though.
Actually,
Well,
my
you go back
trigger
to
is driving
McDonald's
past
and you, like,
Little Farm
smell the
stores,
smell.
7-Eleven.
There you go.
Grocery stores, if I'm shopping for
Like,
groceries,
you eat them.
I need to have like, you know, those things they put in horses, so they can't see the right and left. That's what I need when I go to the grocery store.
Well, not only that, just you brought up a great point, 7-Elevens and Royal Farms.
Oh, man.
You walk into a 7-Eleven and a Royal Farms, what is there good to eat there,
Snickers, Reese's,
It's
Milky Ways.
just,
All the good stuff.
it's all the stuff. There's very little
Slurpees.
Slurpees.
The processed emporium.
It is. So I mean, it's just a place to
Hey,
avoid.
don't talk bad about 7-Eleven hot dogs. They're one of the best. things
Yeah.
to eat there.
Doesn't get much more processed. than
Frank, what about like you was talking about going to like Royal Farms or something like that? They have fruit that's not frozen.
Yeah. That's say the little thing. Right?
No, but I'm saying they be in packets and stuff. They like, they're
Yeah,
refrigerated, but
that's
not,
pretty. That's what we would typically call minimally processed.
okay, no.
And you gotta look and see what's in it. Lots of times they put citric acid to keep it from going bad. And that's really kind of just orange juice almost, but depends what they usually put something there to keep it from turning brown. I mean, it's better just eat it now.
I know that deli and meat, some of the stuff they use as preservative that is really bad.
Processed meats is really high on the
Like
carcinogen
those,
list.
bologna, like the
Yeah.
circle bologna.
It's very good though. I
Yeah.
love
Can
it.
eat salami.
So
Also, if I get like inches.
Now, cured,
Yeah,
now cured is different, right?
Scared.
scared, yeah, and
Like,
just,
I
yeah.
will eat
Like
crazy
cured.
amounts of ice
Cured
cream,
is different
chocolate,
than
cookies.
what we're talking about.
So triggers are,
When you say cured.
things that we gotta be aware of.
Yeah.
Typically they're short.
Boss.
A trigger isn't something that's gonna last all day. If you could just get past the trigger, you'll be on the other side.
We were talking about cured meats. That's different than the processed. meat.
That good Spanish ham is,
Yeah. Como serrano.
ah, man, that's
Or the
good.
Italian.
Vienna sausages.
But what is it? It's just salt and meat. It's
It's
pretty
salted,
good.
right? The
That's
cured
okay.
meat is just salted. So it's not as processed, it's minimally
Heavy
processed.
in salt.
Yeah.
Heavy in
So
salt,
it's
right?
heavy in salt, would you still say minimally?
I would, but you gotta understand what you're eating.
That would be like another thing, if you have to watch your salt.
If you
and
have to
that
watch
would be
your salt,
something
stay away
probably
from
to
it.
Now,
watch.
but the salt process on the Spanish ham, the jamon serrano, is on the outside. So when you cut into the ham itself, that's a soak
Oh,
down.
yeah.
That's a soak.
I mean, that's how, I mean, it sounds.
It's not really
preservative.
tasty
It's
because
good. I think it's
you really
good.
taste salted.
That's good stuff. You're not gonna eat a lot of it because it costs $30 a pound, so
$100.
$100 a pound. So how much are you gonna eat? One slice on something, a little salad with it, it's really good. Did you bring me any home? When
I
you went there?
when I went to Spain, I
I didn't get any.
Amazon has it.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about social support for trying to stay on track with this stuff. This is another important point. It's much easier if you do this with your social support around you. It's difficult to stay on track of this stuff. A couple of things will happen, at least for me. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I'll be going along fine, and then I screw up for a day, and then I just give up. But what you really need to think about is once mess up isn't going to be a problem, just get back on track. If you can do that, you just put it behind you. But the same with exercise. I think you get the same thing. Sometimes you're really going to the gym, then you stop, and it's hard to get back going again. It very much helpful if you have family support in doing this, or your partner supports, your friends support. So that's something to consider and to try to get, involved in it. So if you can do that. Go ahead, Peter.
What if you don't have a family, you live with 2 cats?
You gotta get Kiki to help you.
Is it a true
Feed
statement?
feed your cats what you're.
Is it a true statement if you're hungry and you drink water, that will help you with your hunger? I've heard that a few times,
I
like say
think
you're
it just
hungry.
actually fills your belly, but it doesn't last that long because it's water, but.
Just whips
I
right
think
through
it
you.
does. I mean, if you like chug a whole thing of water, your belly feels full.
Right.
So I mean.
And you
chug-
could- and we don't get enough water, so.
It's good for like skipping snacks.
It's like snacks.
Yeah. It's just
Like in the
fills
middle of
your
the
belly.
day.
It's like you're not actually hungry, but you're just trying to put something in. So you
Well,
just-
I think
Teas
somebody told
good
me
for
that
that too, I
sometimes
find.
when you feel hungry, sometimes you're actually thirsty. but like you feel hunger, but you're actually thirsty.
Honestly, I'll tell you something now, just from, I've done a lot of intermittent fasting, just to play around with it, and I'll go a couple days without eating, and the funny thing that I understand now, but I would get really hungry at lunchtime, and I'd get really hungry at dinner time, but it would go away when I got past that time.
Huh.
You know, so it's like your body is pretty, you know, it's made to eat. I mean, it's there to, all your senses are there to keep you going, so it's lunchtime, you don't forget it. It pops up in your head, you're ready to go eat. But I find that those urges tend to be for a period of time. They're not, it's not like if you don't eat lunch, you're gonna be 10 times hungrier at 2 o'clock, because you're not. It goes away and you go back to work and then you forget about it.
Are there certain foods that will help you when you get into that time or that hunger stage?
Well, if you're hungry and it's mealtime, you just eat a good healthy meal with whole
Like,
foods. I
and
mean,
say it's not the meal time, but you get into that stage.
then we're
hungry.
talking triggers. And I
Or
think,
there are healthy foods that you can,
no, I think what you really want to do, if you can, is get through the trigger. Get to the other side of it, understand it's, well, you just quit smoking. You know what it's like. Get through that urge.
I gain 8 pounds.
No, I mean, but to get through smoking, you had to get through that. You want a cigarette, you just get through it. You get to the other side of it.
Right.
It doesn't like you just crave for the rest of your life, you know, there are these little urges, and the same thing with the food triggers. You get to the other side of it, you just go on and do stuff. Try to eat your regular meals and get away from the other stuff and eat good, healthy meals. And if you keep doing it, pretty soon your body will be recognized, that's mealtime here, it's mealtime here, and this is not mealtime in between. But if you keep feeding it, like you go to Royal Farms, you know, and you get something, you go there, your body gets something for it, so it keeps you going. So that's part
Part
of
of their point, that don't let one slip up derail your plan, that I'm guilty of that.
I think
If
we
have
all are.
One chocolate chip cookie, it's one is too many, thousand never, like, literally that applies.
And then
to
you feel
food.
guilty about it, and then you're
Yeah.
like, well, who cares now? I already messed it all up.
I think we're all there.
Exactly.
It's time again with social support for these things. It's very
And
helpful.
don't go to the grocery store hungry.
That's the
That's
worst.
a bad
Do that all the time, too.
That's a bad one.
I love when you go to the grocery store and spend like $200 and then
Yeah.
you leave and you're like, I'm gonna stop at McDonald's and get food.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things we're gonna talk about is, this is where we're gonna exit it out on, is SMART goals. And for doing this stuff, what you should do is have, and this is the acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time limited. So over here is the ones you don't want to do. Like if you say to yourself,
Can you minimize that thing?
I think it needs to record, so I don't want it to go away. It's part of my project. I would minimize it if I wasn't doing this. Just saying I'm gonna eat healthy is not that easy.
Right.
Doesn't really, it's not specific enough. What you should say maybe is I'm gonna eat more vegetables and less refined carbs. You specify what you're gonna do. That makes the goal easier to attain. Instead of saying I want to get rid of my belly, you say I want to lose 5 inches off my waist. So you make it a measurable thing that you can measure and you can track. It makes it better for you to track it and measure it as you're going. Something that's attainable. I'm going to lose 50 pounds this month. I mean,
Tell me how.
you're not gonna. I'm gonna lose 40 pounds in the next year. Now that might be something attainable. Or put your number in there, but make it something that you could get to, because setting goals you can't reach just defeats the whole thing.
What about, now I've known people that have been into this. Wachovia and some of the other loose control drugs that they've been using that was really good. Now, have you guys got into that in your class?
I
And
can't,
the long-term effect
I'm
of
in
that?
nutrition, I'm not a doctor.
Right, you haven't got into that.
I just wouldn't get that kind
But
of
it
advice.
worked because these people have lost copious amounts of poundage.
Yeah.
But you should do research on what happens to those people after the.
Well, they have to stay on.
Well, yeah, but there's other side effects happen to like the body. There's a lot of it. You won't see it easily. All the good stuff will pop up, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of like bad things that
You
happen.
you cannot even get those drugs for people that use it for other things.
Something like Mongiorno and.
Yeah, Matorno and all that, right? And they're hard to find because people are using it for weight.
They're
loss.
diabetes medications and
Yeah.
people need to take it for diabetes. And again, I'm gonna just go back to, talk to your doctor.
Yes.
This is a doctor thing,
Right.
not this presentation. Okay, relevant, and this one's good. You don't want to say, I want to stop smoking too. But you probably should say, I want to maintain strength while losing weight, especially at our age. That's a big one. You don't want to say, I want to lose weight, but I also got to make sure I keep my muscle mass up. So it's a relevant goal to add to it. So it's important to make sure my proteins are up and I'm doing some sort of resistance training. You know, otherwise you can say, oh, I lost a lot of weight, but my arms are about so small, you know, because we just started losing all our. And then time limited, it's good to put some sort of, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds in 3 months or something like that. So you cap it off of what you're gonna do. And these are, people study this stuff, think this is a good way to do something, to come up with a plan. So, you know, make it your own, but don't do sort of the things on the left. Try to make them specific, measurable, attainable, relevant. So we'll go back to the learning objectives and I want to see if we met them. So the first one was understanding what's causing the obesity epidemic. You guys feel like you have some of a better understanding of that?
Oh, yeah.
The cereal telling us to eat it for dinner.
That's a great one. Understanding what macronutrients are.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. What were the two weight loss models?
CMI and.
Yeah.
Low calorie.
Carbohydrate insulin model,
Energy balance.
energy balance model. Good job. You can remember the names, man. That's good. That's good. What's the problem with restrictive diets?
They're restrictive.
Especially for old people. What happens when we take?
You don't get the
Yeah,
essential
we-
nutrients you need.
Lose your muscle.
Bingo, you're not
Yeah,
getting the
so
nutrients you
it's
need. You're eating a diet so restrictive, you're starving yourself of needed things. What is meant by whole foods?
Closest to the
Great.
natural state.
That's it.
Nice.
Closest to the natural
Yes,
state.
Okay.
There you go. He's got an A over there.
Oh, that's good. Closeness to the natural state. I like that.
And then, do you think you guys can work with chronometer?
Sure.
I think that's gonna be a do that, just put it in wrong.
Yes.
We'll put it on.
So I think I hit them all.
Yeah, that's
Get an
great.
A.
There's the references, so thank you. So I also have a couple handouts for you. One is a form for judging this, and then also those recipes we talked about. So I'll give you them.
Forget judging, give me the
Take
rest.
us